Hey, Sean, over the last week, we hear a lot about, the Rams and the Bucks aren't the same teams that they play in week 4. Is that more about the changes in player personnel or more about just the way that teams grow over the course of a season?
I think it's both, Maria. I think both teams have kind of navigated through a lot of different guys having to step up. I think the depth of both of our rosters has shown to be strengths. But I think like any other year, when you talk about from week 3 to now representing, our 19th game, there's a lot that changes in the midst of it. And you've got stuff that you're doing schematically that you want to build off of, and making sure that you're aware of your self-scout, then what is the opposing team doing? So I think just as the season goes on, there's inevitable changes that occur both personnel wise, but then I think the evolution of landscape of the league and how each team scheme evolves and how that dictates and determines, how we want to attack them and how they want to attack us in the different phases.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Gary?
Hey, Sean. When you're facing a quarterback like Tom Brady, who doesn't have great escapability and is operating behind a line that's kind of banged up, what are you saying to Aaron and Vaughn and Leonard Floyd before the game, either on the field or in the locker room? And what kind of an impact do you think your pass rush can have on this game?
Well, I think the best way to affect the quarterback is with your pass rush, and moving him off the spot. But, the thing about Tom that makes him so special is he processes things. His mind works so quickly. And then he's one of the best guys that has a feel for moving, manipulating the pocket, and being able to find quick element throws if protections break down, and so that's been one of the many things that makes him so special. But, it's got to be patient. We've got to make sure that we're consistent and all 11 being on the same page. And, I'm just glad that you got your service better than when Jalen was clowning you for Metro GPS. That was pretty good. You're muted still.
You got to let them know that sports writers don't live in Hidden Hills. Most of us don't live there.
Hey, Stu.
Good.
Hey, Sean. Wanted to ask about Darrell Henderson and Sebastian Joseph Day and Robert Rochelle being designated for return. What's their status looking like right now for Sunday, in addition to obviously Ernest Jones, who you guys also designated for return the other day?
Yeah, so, really, it just made sense to start that 21-day clock with all three of those guys. Whether that means they'll ever be able to return or not, if we're able to extend our season, is kind of remains to be seen. But they're working hard, doing a great job with their rehab with Reggie and his group. It was great to get Ernest on the field yesterday. He looked really good. He's still probably, 1 week away. So don't expect Ernest Jones to be able to play this week, but he looked good. It was great to have his energy and just him out there on the field with the rest of the guys. But we're fortunate enough to extend our season. And I think next week looks like a likely possibility for him. With those other three, we'll just take it day to day.
Kevin.
Hi, Sean. Does that mean that any of the others has a chance of being active this week?
No, none of those guys have a chance this week.
Okay. And then what's new with Whitworth and Taylor Rapp?
Both those guys will be out. They'll be out for the game.
Okay. That seems like a pretty serious concussion situation then, for it to be 2 games.
Yeah, you know what? Without getting into the specifics, it's just kind of clearing that last hurdle when you start taking, you get the physical toll and things like that. And so can't be safe or smart enough with these things. And, I know the one thing for Taylor is he's doing everything in his power to get back and be out there with his guys. And he's a great, tough competitor, but these are things that we know how serious they can be. And I do feel like, hopefully after next week, we'll get some positive news if we are able to continue our season and maybe he returns next week.
And I guess for Eric Weddle, last week you said he could play 10, he could play 30 snaps. You pretty much hit the middle with, I think, 19. Any estimates ideally for this week?
Yeah, I think it's always based on some of the game plan things and the different situations that arise. But think it was great for Eric, and he was going to play more snaps if the game was closer towards the latter parts. And so he felt good. What a great communicator, great energy. I mean, he just brought such a positive aura and energy to our building. I know how much respect he already has from the guys. And it's been great having Eric around. What I thought was also great was to see the way that Terrell Burgess and Nick Scott played. Both those guys did an excellent job. So I think the depth of our secondary was really, challenged, but the guys showed why they've done a good job and they were ready when their number was called. And this week will be no different with Taylor being out again.
Thank you.
Lindsay?
You're welcome.
Sean, over the last 5 years that you've been here now, you've had several players that have come in and for lack of a better term, have had kind of drama at their previous stops, but seem to have none here. I'm just curious what you think it is about what you guys do in your building that causes maybe drama attracted players to just go out and play football.
What do you think it is?
I would love, you know what, if you give me access to the back of your building for a week or two, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
I don't, hey, as long as you don't tweet about it, you come in and get access to anything. No, you know what, Lindsay, here's what I would say. I try to do a good job of making sure that, when we are bringing guys in, Les and I and Kevin, you're talking about, okay, is this guy fit? Does he love football? All these guys that supposedly have these things are very smart individuals that love football. And so we try to make it all about ball. We try to collaborate with them, have a shared ownership between the coaches and the players. And, I think living out here is a great thing. And then I think the teammates are the most important thing. Those other guys that have been in this locker room that have really built this culture, from the ground up are what's right about it. And we just try to make sure that there's a good atmosphere and environment that's in alignment with, hey, having some urgency, but also enjoying the way that we go about our work. But I haven't seen any of those things. And, I do think sometimes those things can get blown out of proportion and then it's all perspective driven. You look at it from both sides, but fortunately those guys that you're referring to, when you get to kind of know them from a personal level, they've been great joys. And, those guys have done an excellent job with us, however you want to, whoever you want to identify, but it's been a great thing. And I think it's been one of the reasons we've been able to be successful. And it goes back to the players are the biggest thing. The players, the leaders that we have in that locker room, Lindsay, and the way they put their arm around people when they welcome them.
And is Odell someone where you would like to try and figure out some way to be able to bring him back next season?
Yeah. I mean, I love being around him. He's done a great job production wise. Similar. I think when you look at what I was mentioning with Weddle, but both Vaughn and Odell have just brought such a good energy to our team. Both these guys are great guys. They're very charismatic. They bring a swagger and a confidence, and they love football, and they want to try to win, and they're great competitors. Their resumes prior to coming here have earned the respect, and then you're seeing all the plays that they're making, and they just want to be a part of the team, and I've loved both those guys, but Odell has been a real joy to be around, Lindsay. Love working with him, and we're really enjoying that, and what the future holds, we'll kind of see, but I certainly have loved every second of being with this guy.
Keep the tweets to a minimum. Look forward to it. Thanks.
There you go.
George?
Urgent enjoyment. I'm trying to think of where I've heard or seen that before. I just can't quite place it.
There you go.
Hey, Sean, just also wanted to just re-clarify. So you're saying Andrew Whitworth, Taylor Rapp, and Ernest Jones are all out for Sunday?
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. And then wanted to check on Troy Reeder because he popped up on the injury report with an ankle issue. What's his status and how's he been doing at practice?
He'll be good to go. He's feeling good. He'll be rolling on Sunday.
Did he, his role has changed in a variety of ways at different points over the last couple of years for you guys. Did he show you guys something that you needed to see last week, not just assuming those responsibilities with the green dot, but also making the plays he needed to make?
You know what, Jordan, I think kind of like what you mentioned, all he's done is just answer the bell with whatever he's been asked. If it's being a key contributor on special teams and then playing in certain packages, if it's wearing the dot and playing almost every snap defensively, I think about the Washington game last year with what a great job he did. And so Troy Reeder is just such a good football player. He's earned the trust of his teammates. He's a great communicator. And he can make plays both on defense and in special teams. And I think he's only gotten better as he's accumulated experience. When you're as intentional as he is about going about your work the right way, you have a real commitment to a process and weekly rhythm. I think Chris Shula has done a great job, but you can't help but get better. And that's what you're seeing. And I think the depth of that room has really been challenged. I mean, what a great job T. Howard has done over the last couple of weeks as well. When Ernest got a chance to step in, we know what a big contributor Kenny was for us earlier on in the year. So I think that's a real credit to those players and Chris Shula doing a great job developing that room.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dylan?
Hey, Sean, you touched on this a little bit earlier, but when Beckham did come in, there were questions on how he might fit in, with you guys culturally. And I was just kind of wondering, when he came in, what did you know about him at that point that told you, okay, this might work? And also, what have you learned about him, in his time with you guys?
Yeah. So the first thing I would say, Dylan, I've gotten to know Odell a little bit just because he spends a lot of his time in the off seasons out here. And so we've crossed paths, and I've always had such a huge amount of respect for his body of work and his resume, just studying him from afar. And then when you get to know him, you realize, he's so consistent where, he just loves competing, loves being around his teammates. He's an incredibly intelligent, smart, funny guy. And I think, that's what I've learned about him. I've learned that he's consistent in his everyday approach. He just wants to win. He's been a great teammate. I think if you ask the rest of his guys, what a breath of fresh air he's been. He's done that. He works hard in practice and really is very coachable. So he's checking the boxes and everything. And he's been a real joy to be around, Dylan. And I've just continued to learn about him personally, what really is important to him. But he has been great to be able to work with. And, that's why I think you got to reserve your judgments for your personal interaction with people, because he's such a popular figure and he's got such a brand because he's been such an elite player and he's so charismatic and has this presence that I think that can get misunderstood. I think the biggest thing I would say is he's been incredibly selfless here and been a great teammate is what's really stood out to me. And then he's made plays when he's been asked to, and he's done everything that we've asked.
Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome, Dylan.
All right, we're wrapping with you, Kurt.
Hey, Sean, in the final 24 hours between now and kickoff, in a week where you had one less day to prepare, has anything changed? Raheem said yesterday he loves the travel plan. You feel like you still have to cram a little bit more compared to normal?
Yeah, really the early parts of the week kind of represented that, Kurt. Where we kind of combined yesterday kind of represented a combination of a Wednesday and a Thursday. And now today we're on what is closer to a normal Friday. So I think our guys, there's so much changes, throughout the course of the year and really with our schedule that there really isn't a norm. It's just, hey, being where your feet are planted, handling the day. You feel like you're kind of caught up to speed, but there'll be a couple things that we can kind of continue to tweak and clean up. And then tomorrow we'll have those last little things before we travel. And then if we need to hit anything on Saturday night or Sunday morning, we will, but got as much time as we need up until 2:59 Eastern time on Sunday.
Thanks, Sean. Good luck.
Thanks, Kurt.